Thank you for tuning in with Dr. Lesia the Preacha. Okay. God is great and he is greatly to be praised. On your way in to this live, will you please click like, hit the notification bell, share this video? I greatly appreciate it. Well, I do forgive. I do forgive. I forgive everyone. I forgive me. The first person to forgive is myself. I forgive myself for being wrong. I forgive myself for everything I've done. I forgive myself. Therefore, because I forgive myself and believe in treating others as well as I treat myself, and in some cases, as bad as I treat myself, I am the standard on how to treat other people. Whether I treat myself good or bad, this will be true. So if the people in my life wonder, well, how is she going to do me? How is she going to treat me? What is she going to be like? Pay attention to how I treat myself. That's the obvious clue, you know. So therefore, I do the same thing when I meet someone new, for example. I study how they are with them own selves. How do you love you? How do you treat yourself? How do you hate yourself? When you make a mistake, how do you act? Do you ignore or deny, yourself? Do you ignore how you treated yourself? Do you deny how you treated yourself? Do you acknowledge how you treat yourself? Those are the things, the clues, the flags, no matter the color of the flag, red, blue, white, whatever. Um, those are the flags for me to know how you're going to treat me based on how you're treating yourself. There's a range, good to evil or bad. So when I meet people, immediately, I'm not only looking for the good in them, I want to look for the bad too, because that's a clue as to how I'm going to be treated. I see there are at least 6 people tuned in. Please click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you. So I have no reason to hold vengeance, grudges, or anything concerning, in my case, sugar babies, brie babies, and any other home wrecking entities, whether male or female, because my ex and I have had male and females in our marriage. We were a swinger couple, we were poly. So we had other people in our marriage. You know what I mean? I'm not proud of all that. It was a product of the marriage failing and him acknowledging that he just didn't want me anymore and regretted ever marrying me. So about halfway through the marriage, around year 16 or something like that, when I realized the extent that he just didn't want me anymore, I'm like, well, let's open up the marriage, because he and I agreed under those circumstances. We were so stupid and crazy. But at the end of the day, we agreed to stay together because the youngest child, which was adopted, I was about 12 or 13. So We needed a few more years to get this child grown. So even though we didn't want to be married anymore or whatever, we agreed to stay together anyway. So we kept everything the same, so to speak. The sex and everything was there because I wasn't independent. I was a stay at home wife and mom, completely dependent on him. So that wasn't going to change anytime soon. I was already mentally gone. You know, shortly after he made all those confessions, I had my first suicide attempt out of five. And so to this day, after five suicide attempts, I just don't feel confident enough to even provide for myself. But ultimately, he just secretly ran off with a white woman. And I know that most Black women can expect that. We know that most Black men ride the marriage off of us until they can afford to make that leap to the white woman. I accept it. I've been knew this a long time ago. Nothing new, nothing new under the sun. So all I could do was just go ahead and do what he say, just be there and finish raising a family until he left me. It's a pathetic place to be, a hopeless, pathetic, stupid position to be in, but I was there. Hi, I see someone saying hi. Thank you so much. I appreciate you not only stopping by, but taking time to comment too. I don't get much support, much love, I don't get many comments or anything. Most people just think I'm worthy of being dumped and dying. And that's cool, you know. So, I chose this for myself, obviously, you know. But yeah, but I forgive my ex. It may not seem like it because I'm telling our story, you know. And in order for me to tell my story accurately, I have to just tell it like it is. And it may sound like I'm bitter. It may sound like I'm unforgiving and all that. Well, I believe I forgive. I believe I do. And I believe, are you Christian? I'm a believer. I'm a John 3:16 believer. It says, whosoever believeth, which means continually, you know, will not perish. So I'm a believer. I don't necessarily subscribe to a religious title per se. I just stick with believer. And so, and based on my belief, because I'm divorced twice, well, the fact that I ever divorced at all, I have to stay unmarried. How am I? I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you so much. I'm getting through each day. Getting through each day. I still cry sometimes because it's still hard. I'm not gainfully employed yet. I still cry a lot. It's hard to show up at work crying, and it's really hard because one of my daughters has mental illness. So she's in and out of institutions a lot. She's 31, never married, no kids. The marriage threw her completely under the bus. He had touched her and then stole her lover. To this day, he got the lover and his new white wife on top of it. He got everything. He got all the women, and just, went on with his life. But according to the world, that's expected. When a man run through his first wife and kids, in our case, 25 years, he's entitled to run away, abandon her, and go get something fresh and start over. And then I'm left being blamed for everything and taking care of the kids and cleaning up the mess. So that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not complaining. I know how life works. I'm the one that put myself here. So that's the only, I'm left having to forgive. I'm left having to hold all the damage, fix the cleanup and all that. and be blamed and, never to remarry again. That's my situation. And I'm not trying to blame nobody else per se, but I have the right to tell a story and tell what happened. And just because I'm telling my story does not mean that I don't forgive. I let the other women win. Guys, I let all those other women have 'em. I didn't put up a fight. All I did was defend myself when I needed to, you know. Now the younger women, they like to fight, they like to get in your face. And I had a 20-year-old, he was involved with our daughter's lover, which was in her 20s. And that 20-year-old was young and feisty, and she didn't care. She was all up in our marriage, claiming whatever she wanted, like Clarissa. You know how Clarissa Shields is all up in Papooses' marriage, claiming everything. I'm gonna have his baby, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna fight his wife and all that. That's how that sugar baby was with me, just like Clarissa is with Remy Ma. That's why I support Remy Ma on my channel. Because when you open up your marriage for whatever reasons, that's between you and your spouse. And the other lovers, they need to accept their position. Their position is second, third, or whatever, fourth, fifth, 16th. They have to accept their spot. But trying to knock out the number one spot, you're not a part of the original agreement. Stay in your lane. So the sugar baby, she was all young, done chewing bubble gum and, fighting for her man, all in my marriage. My marriage, fighting for her man. But, he was offering houses and cars and, paying for her DNA test, being pregnant by other guys and stuff. So, I mean, like, hey, I didn't fight her back. I didn't resist. I'm like, hey, take them, take them, whatever. I don't care. The other women will always win with me. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm here to love, share life, build generational wealth. I'm that kind of girl. But when other women want to just post up, hey, if he allow it, then who am I to stop it? If he want it, who am I? That's how I look at it. And so maybe that's a weak perspective. I don't know. Maybe other women actually get down and fight. I'm just not that one. I just feel like when a man want me, he just wants me, and it should be easy. And if you don't want me anymore, okay, let me go. Let me go. But you got to pay the price. See, people want to get rid of you at a discount. He wanted to get rid of me at a discount. He wanted to get rid of a whole wife that raised his kids, who made sure we had everything on time. He wanted to get rid of me at a cheap price. And I'm like, come on, bruh, really? You got to pay to play. So I don't have a problem with multiple relationships and marriages and stuff because I don't know life any other way. My first marriage, I was cheated on the whole entire time. So even during dating and marriage, nothing changed. The second time, same thing. Cheated on the whole. So I was married 32 years, 32 years, and never had a day where it was just me. Never. That could I recall. So my thought is, well, at least, pay me right. I put the job in, I put the time in, I worked my ass off in my marriages. People may think that, well, maybe he was just lazy, maybe you just don't know how to keep a man or whatever, whatever, whatever. Well, I think 32 years is long enough to show that I can keep a man. But does a man want to keep me? That's something different. Whether a man want to keep me is different than my ability to keep one. After 32 years, it's not fair to say that to me. I don't know. I'm crazy. 5 suicide attempts. I'm crazy as hell. So you can't really depend on anything I say. But at the end of the day, I forgive my exes, both of them, both my exes, which I was wrong to leave the first one. I was wrong to divorce the first one. I was wrong. I will admit I was wrong. And that's probably why I suffered for 25 years after that. in that other marriage. I suffered like hell because I was wrong the first time. I can admit it. Now, was he wrong for cheating on me to no end? Yes. And punching me in the face when I was ready to go? Yeah, he was wrong. But I was wrong too for even divorcing. There's a difference between separation so that you can work on yourself and actual divorce. Two different things. So I had every right to protect my heart, mind, and soul and energy from him. But to actually divorce, I was wrong. And I can admit that. And I can admit that I suffered my ass off because I made that wrong choice. And I put my kids through hell being touched by the stepdad and their girlfriend being stolen. And then my other daughter, he went behind my back and married her to an abusive man. I mean, like, it's just no end to the consequences to sin. The consequences to sin has no end. And as long as you stay in it, it's just going to rack up debt. The eternal deficit of mankind. My whole point in having these YouTube channels and putting all my business in the street is because I'm developing this theory called the eternal deficit of mankind. How do we owe God? How do we rank up debt in the spiritual realm and on earth? Both places. Okay. So yeah, I can admit where I've gone wrong. And so when you see me out here crying and stuff, and uh, pouring out my soul and everything, it's because I'm in a place of repentance and I feel bad about what I've done. I feel bad. But I still forgive myself. I forgive myself, but I can still grieve the loss. I can still grieve the debt because I have to live it every day. Some consequences are for the rest of your life. Like, for example, people who claim they accidentally or mistakenly got pregnant, whatever that means. That is a consequence that can last your entire life. That one quote unquote accident mistake lasts your whole life. Every day you wake up, you got to deal with the mistake that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. So when people say, oh, forget about the past, well, I can't just send my kids off to never, never land and never see them again. No, I'm not going to do that. I got to deal with my kids every day. But my kids were not accidents. I was a married woman. I was married when I got pregnant the first time. And Most High, I believe in my soul, asked me to have that first child because I went my whole life saying, I don't want no kids. I don't want no kids. And when I got married, I let that first husband know we ain't having no kids because I'm a career woman. I want to be an independent career woman. My goal was to put Oprah on her ass. I was planning on competing with Oprah. Every Black woman wanted to back then. That wasn't just me. Everybody wanted their own talk show and be Oprah. No, but I wanted to be greater. I didn't want to be Oprah. I wanted to shut her down because I was going to be so good. You know what I'm saying? But of course, that didn't work. I ended up married with kids and this hot mess today, which y'all see on here today. This ended up being it. But yeah, so I forgive everybody because I made choices. I made choices. I am not just some victim that has no options. That's not me. Ivy says, I love God. Good, good. I love God too. He, through Jesus Christ, Yeshua. I like using Yeshua. I know we say Jesus, and I use the word Jesus, Yeshua, you know, I love him too. Yehuda, God, Most High. I love him. I wouldn't be here without him. After two failed marriages, the fact that I'm still breathing today is a miracle and a blessing. Now, my alimony runs out in a year, I might not breathe too much longer after that last alimony payment, but until then, it's on and popping. And he refused to pay for my medical, even though he drove me completely crazy. He refused to pay for my medical. He was just so determined to run off and be with his white woman. But we live in a world that says black men have every right to wipe their feet off on the black family, to jump off and elevate to be with his white woman. Everybody praises the black man when he do that. And hey, who am I to stop him? I'm not trying to stop no black man from getting to the white woman of his dreams. I am not. Even though you used me for 25 years to do it. Hey, and taught our adopted sons. I raised two sons, adopted sons, for this man, and he trained them to do the same thing. I just think it's odd that the father and both sons that we raised together through adoption, all three of them are into white women. I just think that's strange and more than a coincidence. But again, we live in a world, black men have every right to be with any white woman they want, and we black women just have to accept it. That we ain't shit, no matter how many kids we have by black men and raise for them, and no matter what we do for a black man. I wrote his dissertation. We both have PhDs. I'm the wife who really put all the work in. 25 years, I put all the work in. But because I'm black, because I'm a woman, and because I'm from the hood, and I'm from his past, and all that kind of stuff, all that doesn't matter. He has every right to run off with his white woman and be praised the whole time. And, I put myself in a position to be treated this way. So I have to accept the responsibility of it. And I forgive myself. It took a long time for me to forgive myself for helping a black man get to his white woman. I have to forgive myself for that. I made it so easy. I made it so easy to do. And I have to forgive myself, forgive him. And I do every day. It's an everyday thing. Every day I have to get up and forgive myself for allowing him to take all that money that I helped him over the years accumulate. He took all of it and just ran off to give it to me. While me and my kids are hoping to have low income housing. We're hoping we can settle in low income housing. And me and my black daughters, me and my two black daughters have to accept that the black men that we helped for 25 years get to the next level, which is the white woman level. We have to, deal with that. We're just not good enough black women to have kept, that step parent and adopted brothers around. We're black, we're poor, we're just not good enough. So, the white women that got them, good for you, good for you. I mean, you guys were waiting around for us to put all the work in so y'all can, I mean, I've been through this before, it's nothing new. You know what I mean? So, but, I have to wear the egg on my face. I have to wear it and forgive myself at the same time. And that's fine. I do. I do. And I forgive them. But I have the right to tell the story. So just because I tell the story don't mean that there's no forgiveness. That's the thing. But I'm hoping that my stories lead to me having my own production studio one day where I can make TV, movies, skits, whatever, put my stories out there because they're real. And they're out there. We see this every day. This is normal. This is a normal thing in the Black community. It's normal. All Black women know that eventually our man is going to leave us for a white woman. We know this. We know this. Now, I'm not saying every single Black woman go through this. Come on. I'm not saying every single one, but so Many of us. We put our time in, you know. We love as well as we can. You know what I mean? We're having their babies, raising the kids. You know, some of us are blessed to work and be able to actually provide for these kids and stuff. I'm just not one yet. I'm trying to get to a place of independence. I've never had to be before. I've never had to be a strong black woman who's independent and provide and take care of herself before. I allowed 32 years of marriage to do it so I could focus on the kids. So again, when you don't work and be independent despite what you go through, despite the kids, despite the husband cheating on you and all that, if you can't maintain independence in the midst of raising kids and being cheated on, you're just going to end up like me, hoping that you can end up in low income housing somewhere. And, it doesn't seem fair, but to the world, it's perfectly okay. And that's why I'm not going to fight against the world system. They have a plan for our black men for them not to be with us. The world does not want black men to be with black women. The world wants black men to be with the white woman, especially when he has his most money, especially when he's at his best. That's when the white world snatch him up because that's how they benefit. White people want to keep their wealth. And so they wait just as good till the black man has his best after he didn't, been with the black woman, had black kids, and, got his, feet scratched and his head scratched and elevated. Then they snatch him. And, we're accused of being jealous or whatever and not being good enough. And that's why you got left behind. So be it. So be it. I accept it. I accept it. I went through it and I accept it. How else can I? How else can I be about it? Can't be any other way. It is what it is. But God is good, and He knew and knows that this is the way it is. He knew and know, and I just have to trust that He's gonna balance all the scales out in the end. God will do it, not man, not me, not me. Man's not gonna fix it, but God will fix it. He will. I believe He will. It may not be during the time that I'm breathing on this earth, but at some point, all this is going to balance out. And we Black women, the ones of us who really did it, I mean, we really did it. In my case, 32 years held the Black man down. I mean, held him down, had his kids cooking, cleaning, making sure everybody educated, making sure that we have businesses and, you know what I mean? Going to church and, just going to extra, putting up with the cheating biblically, biblically, handling the cheating and all that. Those of us who really did it, God got us. God got us. He knew that these men were going to leave us. He knew. He always knew. But we still couldn't shortchange the marriage or the family. See, that's where we can't have vengeance ourselves. Even though we may feel all, low, busted and disgusted and unwanted, whatever, that thrown away feeling. We may experience it, but we know that God got us. Even in my case, if I can't figure out how to be independent at age 56, 57, after being, a stay at home, mostly a stay at home wife and mom, regardless to my 7 degrees. I have like 7 college degrees, regardless to all that. Um, God knows. He knows what I did. He knows. Even if the husbands and adopted kids and all that, and whoever else used my marriage to get to their next level, you know who you are. Um, and I end up homeless, end up starving because I can't maintain. a job or get one or, that's meaningful enough to keep me out the street or in low income housing or something. God knows. He knows all those days and mornings, nights over those 32 years. He know the labor of love and sacrifice that I put in. He knows. Even if the men don't care and they're giving their best that they saved up for behind my back to the next women, God knows what I did. He knows. Because we got to remember women. We got to remember Jesus came here and he suffered too. They crucified him. One minute they were praising him, and the next minute they were like, crucify him, crucify him. So we women are no different. Black women, we are no different. One minute the black men tell us we're a queen and they love us and they're going to be here for us. And then as soon as they get enough money, they run off to the white woman. We know this is going to happen over and over and over for generations to come. Nothing new under the sun. We know this. So we have to stand there and hang in there, just like Jesus did. You know what I mean? Yeshua. We got to just know in our heart that he got us. And so, again, I forgive. I forgive the exes. I forgive the home wreckers involved. I forgive everybody. I forgive myself more important because I have been so hard on myself, feeling so stupid and used and abused and just, like, why did I give my all? Why did I give my all to marriages and to a family life that could care less about me? Why would I do that? Then I thought about Jesus. He did it too. If anyone is as close to Jesus as anyone else, I'm rooting for the black woman. We are closer to Jesus than anybody to me. Now, of course, the black man gonna say the white woman is. Of course, the average black man is gonna say the white woman is his savior. I get that. That's what my ex said. He had to save himself, and saving himself and running off to a white woman. Those are the saviors of black men, white women. Good luck with that, guys. That's all I can say. Good luck with it. Yeah. But I accept that I'm done. I tap out the system. I refuse to go to any other race of men. I refuse. And people say, well, that's on you. You stupid. You dumb. Why be loyal to people who are not loyal to you? Well, I'm loyal to me. I'm loyal to me and Most High. And I and Most High and I won't let me go anywhere else. Won't let me. I can't cross that line. And I'm healthy. I don't take medication for anything. I have about 7 college degrees, all the way up to a PhD. But the Lord in me won't let me cross no line. Now, when my ex and I were swinging together, when we were swingers, with him, yeah, we laid up with white people, as a couple. We would go lay up with other white couples. But that was with my husband. Outside of the husband, I ain't got no reason to be laying up with white people now. I don't. I don't. I don't. Not when it's just me and God. When it's just me and the Lord alone, I don't need to cross those lines. Now, when I was with my husband, maybe he was getting a feel for white people at that time sexually, so that when he executed his plan, he'd go and feel confident. Whatever. You have to ask him. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than to betray myself and betray God, betray his word based on my belief and understanding. You know, I don't want no strange man. I don't. Unless, spoils of war is just spoils of war. If the black man lose out completely and we Black women and children must submit to a different system, then I mean, what can we do? Spoil the war, women and children go with the winner. That's life. But right now, I don't see Black men in that position where they're losing out to any other race of men like that. Maybe financially, we don't own businesses to the degree that they do and all that. But in any other way, our men are not losers. They're the winners. And I have 7 Black grandsons. 7. I'm proud of them. And so the love that I'm not putting into a lover, a Black man as my lover, husband, and all that, I'm done. I have 7 grandsons to treat like kings. And when I say I know how to treat a Black man, I do. I make sure he look good when he leave my house. I make sure he get his soul food. And then we go out to expensive restaurants and stuff, and like we love. Well, I do. Um, Cuban food. um, Jamaican food. Uh, variety of you know, food and stuff. So I make sure my men are educated. When I met my second husband, he had a PhD. He had a bachelor's degree in engineering. So I took his bachelor's degree in engineering, encouraged him to get his MBA, master's in business or something. And then we ain't stopped at no master's, baby. We went to the PhD level. Okay. So when it comes to Black men, now my first husband, I prayed him out of the desert storm back in the 90s. They had we were in college and it was our last semester of college. And I was pregnant with our first child. I was pregnant with our first child. And they gone pull my husband, which I think is back in the day, that was against the law back in the day. If you was pregnant, your husband was not supposed to go overseas or in the military or fighting a war. But I guess that changed or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I was pregnant with our first child and they sent that man to Desert Storm. Honey, I was at church praying that brother back home. And he came back home. Okay. He wasn't all there when he got back, but he came back. He came back wanting to bring a Filipino woman with him. I'm like, no, no, you're not going to bring a Filipino woman with a child over here. I'm sorry. No, no, we're not doing that. I got your baby, you need to focus here, bro. But we end up opening up a business, a family business that still exists today, 30 something years later. He still run that same business. Okay. So I know I treat Black men good, even though they may say I'm a piece of shit and we're leaving for white women, whatever. They can say what they want. But I got the receipts on how I've been there. And I'm not going nowhere else. I'm not. I'm keeping my legs closed and focusing on my 7 grandsons. And that first husband, these are his grandkids. And he's not involved. And, he's just into his money and women. That's his life. He's married, but he's into his money and women and not into our children and grandchildren and all. And that's his choice. Well, I am into our grandchildren, and 7 of those grandkids are boys. And I make sure they work, my grandboys. I make sure they work. Uh, one of them, I'm influencing him to pick up my gymnastic skills. The other one, I'm working on his piano lessons. Um, and one of them, he's in like a technical school in addition to high school, picking up construction. Okay. And so if he could be like a contract manager one day or something like that, you hear me? You hear me? So, I know how to really develop the Black man and help him get to his next level. So where I cannot afford to do it with grown men no more, calling them my lover and husband and stuff. I can't afford to do that no more. But I can sow all this energy into my grandsons. My grandsons, y'all, ain't they crazy? And I'm just gonna love them and spend as much time with them as I can. Everything I gave to their grandfather, which was a business, education. When I met their grandfather, we were both in college, okay? And I made sure that brother graduated, okay? He didn't like speech class or classes where you had to express yourself. So I would go to class with him. And he would look at me and say his speeches. I say there's nothing better for a brother than a sister. That's how I feel. But I know brothers feel differently. They feel like white women offer them more, and that's cool. That's go, go. I got 7 grandsons to focus on. So I'm not missing anything. I know I'm not. After 32 years of legal marriage to brothers, I know exactly what I'm dealing with here. And will my 7 grandsons probably end up with women that are not black? Probably so. Probably so. Nothing I can do about it. That's just a black man's journey. It's called the black man's journey. It has nothing to do with the black woman's journey. The black man's journey is completely separate from the black woman's journey. So my journey is mine. We as black women, we have our own journey, and it's separate a lot of times from the black man. It's like we're two different species almost. Yeah, we're the same color on the outside, but there's something different about the black man and the black woman on the inside. There's something different about us. Where, in my case, me personally, I feel connected. Like I shouldn't go anywhere else. But I understand the black man don't have that same connection. And I respect it. I mean, how can I not? I still gotta forgive. I still gotta be supportive and be there anyway. But I have to set boundaries. And in my case, I'm not dating anymore. I don't care who you are or what color you are. I don't care. It's just shut down now. And does that mean I won't ever have a good time? No, that doesn't mean that. It just means I'm not going to be legally committed to anyone else anymore to the point where I can be cheated on, lied to, and abandoned. I can't afford that. I can't put myself in that position. But I can put myself in a position where I can be, honored, cherished, and respected by not being in a relationship or sexually involved with anyone at this point. No, especially in my case, I'm more into married couples than anything else, and I don't date anyone at all. But if I were to get back into like dating or something, or just trying to, have fun or whatever, it would be married couples where the wife chooses me because she want me to be in their marriage. That's the only way that's gonna happen. The only way, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I gotta say. This is my forgiveness journey. It starts with me forgiving myself. And on my channel, I am comfortable, very, very, very comfortable saying, hey, the world view me as an old, ugly black woman that's unwanted, will never have a man again in her life, just need to go ahead and die. I'm comfortable saying all that. Now, do I personally believe all that? No, no. I'm going to continue to love myself, take myself out to dinner, keep going to the gym. I'm going to keep dancing, keep my body, as tight and right as I can at 56. I'm 56, so I can only be so tight. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep it as good as I can for as long as I can. And just because I don't have a man that sleep in my bed and call me baby every day or whatever, that don't mean I have no value at all on this earth. It doesn't. It just means that I'm not out there to be married no more. I'm not out there like that no more. That's all it means. But in the meantime, I'm gonna look good for me. Take myself out, and my kid. I'm at the point now where even though we're, you know, not rich or wealthy or anything. We're living very minimal at this point. We still have time for each other. We have fun. We get together for holidays. We even at the point now where we can even go on a little trip to Florida. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna keep working on me, guys. I'm gonna keep forgiving myself every day. And I'm gonna keep forgiving all involved. My parent, grandparent, husband, neighbors and friends. Anyone has done anything bad to me, it is okay. You are forgiven. Just work on yourself. I'm fine. You don't need to contact me or anything. I mean, unless God just tell you to. Some people really do need to let it all out or whatever. That's fine. Whatever. You know, this is my way of letting it all out. I just go on YouTube, which people say is insane. Fine. I'm insane. I admit it. I've had 5 suicide attempts. No one gets too much crazier than that. I'm sure there's levels of much deeper crazy than that, but I'm just saying in general, check the box of crazy over here. Nothing new. All right, click like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And like I said, I forgive everybody. I do. And the way I love is the way I want to love. All love comes from God anyway. Whatever love you have in you and me, whatever, how you want to view it, it comes from God. It comes from God. We don't control it anyway, you know? So do what you're going to do. I'm doing what I want to do. Always have and always will, you know? Now, on my journey of doing what I want to do, have people manipulated me, tricked me, it set me up for failure? Yeah. But Most High got me. And He know how to balance these scales out. The victory is His. Even vengeance is His. It's not even mine, you know? So that's why I don't waste time holding grudges. I don't waste the time. Now, do I feel what I feel and gotta process what I gotta process? Yeah. But holding a grudge, too expensive. Stuff like that can kill you. And I don't want to die right now. No matter how many suicide attempts I've had, I don't want to die right now. You know what I mean? I don't want to die. Even when I'm sad and crying and oh my God, I can't get through another moment on it. I don't want to die. He walked out 5 years ago, and I haven't had any issues since. I'm just getting better and better each day. And I tell my story. A part of getting better is telling my story, explaining what happened, you know, and I forgive. I forgive my parent, grandparent, even my great great grandfather that was white and a plantation owner, even him. I even forgive him for owning my great great grandmother and then not only owning her, but owning my great grandmother, Big Mom, and ultimately owning my grandmother. My grandmother grew up on that same farm too, if I'm not mistaken. She grew up on that farm. 3 generations of Black women grew up on that white man's, which was my great great grandfather, grew up on that plantation. 3 generations of Black women that I come from, was raised on that plantation until we made it to Detroit, Michigan. Once we made it to Detroit, Michigan, you know, that was it. So my one grandma, ain't no great, just grandmother. My grandmother, my mom's mom, my grandmother, no greats there, just grandma, regular grand. She went from that white man's plantation to Detroit. Now there was a husband in between, but again, overall, that was the transition. So I forgive that white man too for ever owning us. How can I not? And then I don't even know the name of the woman he got pregnant, the black woman that's my great great grandmother. I don't even know her name. It might have been Ida. I doubt it. It's Big Mama name was Ida. Yeah, Big Mama name was Ida. So I know for sure. But I'm just saying, maybe he was named after her mother, but I don't even know that person's name. My great great grandmother, who was the original owner, the original person that was owned by Mr. Fair. Mr. Fair, the plantation owner out of Mississippi. I don't even know her name. But Big Mama was Ida, so I know her. Uh, I forgive everybody. Why not? This is America. I'm a believer. And, I'm not suicidal today. Not today. I haven't been since 2018. The last time I had like strong suicidal feelings and thoughts and stuff was back in 2018. And then 2020, my ex walked out on me. He walked out on me to go pursue his white woman. And that was the best thing that ever could have happened to me. Emotionally, mentally, physically, because I was still 100% on board because I was trained and raised, don't bite the hand that feed you. And he was the only person that was paying my bills and feeding me at the time. And when you give someone the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. And that's what I'm going through now, you know, the starvation process. And so far, it's been 5 years of starving. And I got about another year left. And after that, it's going to be the ultimate starve until I die, unless Most High create this miracle in my life where, all the mental illness I've endured and stuff can just vanish to the point where I can stay focused on a job without crying and being depressed and feeling like the lowest scum on earth. You know what I mean? If he can get me there in about a year, then I'll be fine. If not, then the choices I've made in life put me to the point where as soon as the alimony is over, my life's over too. And I accept that because again, I mean, we choose our path, even if we don't know the full outcome. When we make our choices and we don't know the full outcome, it don't matter. It's not going to stop the outcome. And years ago, I chose to be talked into adopting kids and raising kids when I wasn't even on my own 2 feet yet. So it don't matter if you're married or not. Being married is not an excuse to not work and take care of yourself. It's a poor excuse. Having kids is a poor excuse to not work and take care of yourself. Don't have any more children than your marriage can support. Boom. And for some reason, that responsibility falls more on the woman than it does the man. And in my case, I allowed my second husband to use adopted children to ruin my life to the point where when his last alimony payment in about a year is made, that might be my last breath. It might be my last bill paid, my last ability to survive. Again, starvation can be a process. It's an evil one, but I'm here to tell it. I'm here to tell it. Sometimes being a stay at home wife and mother can be your death. It can be a blessing and it can work for a lot of women, but the risk is too great. You're putting too much trust in the hands of a man that can change his mind like that. One moment can be gone just like that. It all can be gone. I'm not discouraging women from being stay-at-home wives and moms. I'm not discouraging. My own daughter is still in that. She's a stay-at-home wife and mom. Regardless of what I've gone through, it don't matter. She is still a stay-at-home wife and mom. Ooh. But I'm gonna have to pray her through it and be there because she does have a stressful marriage. Just this year it went through some stuff that just make me want to just. I'm surprised it didn't make me suicidal, like all over again. What she's going through. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna keep them in my prayers and keep helping and being supportive to her and the kids as possible. That's what I mean by, the men may move on to their white women and live their best rich lives. But we black women have to stay back and still deal with the violence of the black men that are still in our community, putting us through hell until they get to their white woman. So he has the courage to go get his white woman. I have to pray my daughter through what they're going through now. It's just an endless cycle. And people they use the word bitter. Oh, you're just bitter. Well, what's wrong with bitter? What's wrong with bitter when you've been through so much? I mean, like when you've been cheated on and physically abused and, breadcrumb, not given enough money to support yourself and all that. I mean, like the word bitter is not like the end of the world. I mean, that's the least you can be is a little bitter after all that, right? I'd rather be a little bitter than completely suicidal. I'm just saying, people act like being bitter is the end of the world. Bitter means you're a little bit more wiser and cautious now. You're not going to just give yourself to the next guy so easy. It means you learn how to put some boundaries in place and let people graduate. You know what I mean? As soon as you say I do, you ain't got to just lay your whole self on the bed, your whole life on the bed. That's what I was doing, just because somebody said I do, I was just like, here I am. Oh gosh, when I look back on how dumb I was. I was easy to leave for the women who gave up too much too soon and didn't have enough at it. So we live and learn. We live and learn. We live and learn. So the best thing I can do right now is just stay to myself and on occasion, just be a good time to a married couple every once in a while. Nothing sexual though. My legs are closed. Certain things, certain spirits are not gonna transfer into this body. It's just not, you know. So I've learned, truly learned my lesson. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Forgiveness is needed. And again, just because someone is sharing their story doesn't mean they don't forget. This man walked out 5 years ago. I haven't seen him at all. He's married to someone new, living his best life ever. And guess what? I'm living as well as I can. I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? I could be better, but I'm okay. At least I have my daughter's back. He really snatched the rug under my feet, even when it came to my own kids. Turned my kids on me. He couldn't just leave to go be with his white woman. He had to turn everybody against me too. And people would say, "Well, that you did that." Well, okay. All right, fine. People that I was have been cool with my whole life. Once he left me, they were gone. People that's been around my whole life. When he left, they were gone too. And they're not back. So how's that my fault? I'm not sure. you know, but I had to fight like hell to get my own kids back. And I got them back. Both my daughters are back with me. It's under traumatic circumstances, but I'll take them back however it goes, whether it's through trauma or whatever. His abandonment, his final stage of abandonment is what really happened. Dropping them. Dropping them was his final stage of abandonment. He lured them away just to drop them in my face. And guess what? I said, come on, babies. I know what happened. I know what happened. Come on. Don't worry about it. Be my kids. And I gave him the two that were adopted. Go. Take the boys and go. Y'all go live your white life and leave us alone. It is what it is. So we're scraping our lives back together. We eat free food. We you know, pay our bills. We don't have many, but we do what we gotta do to pay them. Planning for the worst, which is when that last alimony hit, we prepare for that. And so far it's not looking good. Because again, my daughter, my one daughter, we both have mental illness issues because of the marriage. He, you know, cheated with her lover after touching her, stole her girlfriend too, and then marrying the other one to an abuser behind my back. She has a real father alive. He still went behind my back and the real father's back to marry her to somebody that was gonna abuse her. That's a lot to forgive, but I have to. And I have, and I will every day. Even though I talk about it and show the emotion, that don't mean the forgiveness is not there. Don't get it twisted. Don't be fooled. Mhm. So even in your own life, it's okay for you to feel what you're gonna feel, say what you're gonna say, do what you're gonna do or whatever, within the law and all that. And still forgive. Okay. If they can run off with whole new secret lovers and marriages and stuff and be all right, then why can't we be okay? Why is it so hard to believe that we forgive with the right to speak, tell our story? If they can get away with all that, then why are we so hard to believe? I'm just saying, right? All right, well, thank you guys. It's been over an hour of me just talking crap. Thanks for tuning in and for listening. Um, keep forgiving. Keep forgiving your family, friends, neighbors, and lovers, and whoever you need to forgive, employers, coworkers. Forgive who you need to forgive for your own sake, for your own sake. And first, forgive you. Now, on here, you're going to hear me talk about how dumb I am and stupid I am. And I can't believe I was so stupid and I'm foolish and silly and all of that. That's for the dramatics. And that's how I have felt. I have felt. And every once in a while, I still, get back in those feelings. But I don't own them. I don't own them. They're temporary and they're good for telling the story to help the viewer, the listener to you know, connect, relate. And some people are fresh on their journey. Like I'm 5 years out from my husband leaving me. But just yesterday, somebody's husband left him for another woman. Just yesterday. No matter the color. I'm gonna tell you, it don't matter the color of the woman. When you're being left, you're just being left. You know what I mean? And the color don't matter. But we live in a world where the black man and the white woman, scenario is so popular and so fueled with fire and everything and heat and passion. So it just adds a little more, dramatic to my channel. But the color of a person don't matter. When you're the one left, you feel the abandonment. The abandonment is more important than the color of somebody's skin. Trust and believe. But for the content purpose, I'll, bring it up because it bring people in. It just works. So guys, okay, so thank you again. I see I have at least 4 likes on here, and I've had some comments, and it's been over an hour. Thank you so much. Again, click like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you feel led to, you can donate to my channel financially. My PayPal is Dr. Lesia, the THE, the preacher. Okay. All right. Thank you and be blessed, guys.